And then you went to Lisieux,
Yeah.
also known as Lisieux. Was that good?
Amazing. Yeah, so I'm not a
I love
huge
Therese so much.
I know you are. And
Well, I read Story of a Soul and didn't like it at first. It's just this French girl who likes bonbons. Like, not really my cup of tea, you know? But I since read different books about her that just made me realize, like, she shouldn't be called a little flower. She should be called an iron will or something like that. I mean, she was great. So, but I would actually like to go and read her autobiography.
Really?
Yeah. I should have told you to get that for me in French.
I would have. You don't read French.
That's true. It would have been very difficult.
You'd have to go down to the Newtons. Claire, could you read me another chapter, please?
I'll just fall asleep here. Please leave.
Get off our couch. No, what I found really powerful being there, so I may have gone to confession in her convent and confessed that I called her a spoiled little brat.
Didn't her sister call her that, or didn't she think that about herself?
Good. Then I was in good company. But one thing that I didn't expect was I was so drawn to her parents. So in the basement of the basilica, they built this massive, beautiful basilica, I think right after she was canonized, because the church was pretty small and they knew that pilgrims were going to come. So it's the second most popular site after Lourdes in France for pilgrims to come. And so it's a massive, beautiful church. And in the basement, Saint Zelle and Lou are there, and a reliquary, the big gold. Yeah. And so I prayed there, and then we had mass, and it's like but I was like sitting up in mass, and I just felt like I had to go back with them. Like, I'm like, I don't want to be with all these women that are lovely, that I really enjoyed. No offense, but I was like, I just don't want to be up here. I want to be back there.
Yeah.
And so I just sat back there with them, and I just felt like, okay, you guys get it. Like, I think, I don't know, like, we need more beautiful, holy couples to look up to. And, like, marriage is hard, right? Like, I'm sure being a nun's hard, too. We have lots of them that are canonized for us to look up to.
Exactly.
And I just don't relate. I'm like, I don't get it. Where, like, I don't know, I just felt like they get it. Like, the heartache of just being parents and making decisions and being up through the night. And I don't know, I sat back there. And I even maybe held hands during the Our Father. I don't normally do that, but I like put my arm around them and I'm like, I'll hold y'all's hand.
On the tomb?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so I was hugging the tomb, holding their hand, and I gave them the sign of peace. I hugged and kissed it. But just because I just was like, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, I need your prayers. And I prayed for you and our marriage and all married couples and Dr. Bob and his ministry. And I just felt very convicted to like pray for married couples. And that guy from Delta that helped me at the very beginning, he's fighting for his marriage. And I told him that I pray for him.
How did you know that?
Well, I told him I pray for him. And he's like, oh, thank you so much. He shared that he's Catholic. Wow. He shared his priest wrote him a letter. And I said, oh, I'm actually Catholic too. And he said that his wife wants a divorce, but he's trying to fight it and trying to love her, and she thinks that they've just fallen out of love. And I was like, I will pray for you in your marriage. And so just being there asking them to pray for him, and I don't know, it was really powerful. And they weren't even on my radar that I would see them. And even when I like walked by, I was surprised. I was like, oh, you guys are here, good to see you.
Yeah, that's really cool. No, it's true. I think just like we have these idealized versions of the saints in our minds, and we think, like, how can I possibly compete with that? And the truth is, they probably were very heroic, prayerful people, but they were also people who had shortcomings and annoying qualities and difficulties that perhaps we don't know about. And the closer the saints are to us, the more aware we are of those difficulties. But yeah, that's right. Like, how do we be a married couple? Like, how do we be holy as a married couple? You know, and I agree with you. I'd like to see more canonized.
Yeah. And being in their house.
Couples.
Like, we went to their house,
what
right?
Was that like?
Well, I guess she never lived there. So it was after she died. So
after
I guess
the
it was
mother died,
after the mom died. Right. So Therese was there. It was like a normal house. Like, it could have been our house, a tour of our house.
So cool.
And it was beautiful, like her little dolls and little trinkets and
Really? Wow.
and then walking, they had like a little back garden area, and there was just like, I don't know, like a crucifix out, and I don't know, like just areas where like I could see that this is where her dad kneeled and prayed for night prayer. You know, here's a crucifix.
Why did you know that?
Because there was a kneeler by the bed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like in Therese's room there, was, when she was crazy sick, there's a story about her being crazy sick, and she looks at the statue of Our
Mary,
Lady,
yeah.
and she smiles at her.
She felt as if Mary smiled at her.
Yeah. So that
statue was there.
Yeah. And just being like, she looked at this and smiled, and knew that she'd be okay.
That is just powerful.
Did I tell you what Kiara said about Peter the other day?
No.
So I thought,
We have two kids called Kiara and Peter. Continue.
Oh, sorry. So our 9-year-old went into our 7-year-old's room and it's like, do you know what he was doing? He was in his prayer closet. And I was like, was he eating all of his trick-or-treat candy? I assumed the worst. And she's like, no, he was praying and his eyes were closed and he was kneeling in his little closet looking at, he has lots of Jesuses in there, and I got him a little baby Jesus.
Yeah.
But she's like, no, he was just in there praying, kneeling.
Yeah, him and I, on the Feast of the Assumption, when we went to that church, Maronite shrine or something, I said, well, let's say a little prayer and then we'll go out for Holy Mass. And we both knelt down, and I got up before him. I felt bad about that. And he said, I prayed 3 Our Fathers and 3 Hail Marys. Yeah.
I love it.
If you like that clip, be sure to like and subscribe. Cheers.